It's been 18 months that ChatGPT launched. And right after its launch, we saw a flood of AI startups coming up with some crazy AI products that are very useful in our day-to-day jobs, which are replacing a lot of jobs and which are creating a lot of jobs as well. We contributed in that flood of AI products ourselves as well, because we have developed, I think, 15 or 20 AI products so far and launched them successfully. And one of the things we have learned in this past year and a half is that building these AI products is not that complex, to be honest. All these big companies, OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Meta, all of these companies have their APIs publicly available. They are costly, they are a bit expensive. You obviously have to pay for those APIs, you have to pay per token price. But those APIs are pretty easy to use. If you just know development, if your team has development skills, then they can easily just integrate those APIs in your platform and make your platform AI powered as well. And same is the case with these AI products. Most of them, if not all of them, are using these APIs behind the scenes and building their products on top of them. They are just building the application layer on top of them. Obviously, there is some complexity involved. We will get into those details later on in this video. But yeah, most of those products are using these APIs behind the scenes. So let's start with the first type, the most popular type that was there when ChatGPT launched. So ChatGPT launched and there was no API for that in the first few months. So people just started building some hacks and third-party APIs on top of the ChatGPT interface. They had some bots passing messages from an API to the ChatGPT interface and getting the output and passing that back to the API that those third parties have created. So those third-party API started emerging. But soon after, OpenAI also released their own API to interact with GPT-3, GPT 3.5. And then we saw a flood of chatbots. And chatbots are even at this moment very popular because the interaction with them is so easy and so convenient. And they are actually giving real value to the users. They are not just acting like a bot and performing some fixed number of functionalities. They're actually communicating the whole business use cases and helping users navigate through complex product requirements or complex features in different products without being blocked by a support agent physically sitting somewhere and providing the call center services or support services. So those chatbots are popular to this day as well, but those were the first use case that people started seeing for these AI GPT agents. Then people started exploring these chatbots, people started exploring these generative AI models a bit more, and they observed that if we start doing some kind of sneaky prompt engineering, we can make the chatbot return JSON responses. Okay, now based on those JSON responses, another innovation happened. People started showing visual elements instead of just text-based outputs. So let's say if you have a product idea that you want to build a room planner, room design planner, then you can just ask the GPT model, you can just ask the bot and describe your room. Describe that I want to make this room for kids. I have this much dimensions in my room and I want to have a cupboard, I want to have a children's bed somewhere over there. Now you pass all of those parameters and then ask the chatbot, ask the large language model to return some parameters in form of JSON output or in form of markdown output as well. So the chatbot returns that, okay, if your room has X and Y dimensions, then you can have your bed on X minus 5 and Y minus 3 dimension, and you can have your cupboard on X dot Y or X dot Z dimension, right? So you can ask the bot to return those inputs, those variables only as the output in form of JSON. They started building products that can accept some input in form of text or in form of voice, and then the output will be some visual representation of how the room will look like, because the model is returning the parameters, the values, so we can just simply show them on a UI, on a visual interface, that okay, if this is the room, then you can place your bed over here, place your cupboard over here. And then we started seeing this innovation, we started seeing these kind of amazing applications which were actually proving helpful in people's day-to-day life. After that, businesses started seeing the applications of AI in their use cases as well. But businesses have one problem: they have a huge amount of data. and they want the chatbots, they want these AI models to respond based on their data. They want the model to make some predictions, make some analysis, or summarize a bunch of data for them. But these models have one limitation: the context length, right? Gemini has huge context length, but the most popular models like GPT, they have some limited context length. So you cannot pass GBs and GBs of text data into these models and then expect them to return good amount of results. To solve this problem, RAGs emerged. RAG is retrieval augmented generation. It's basically just doing similarity search across a bunch of data. It means that RAGs will chunk your data, split your data into different sections based on the similarity in the text, similarity of the data with some context. Okay. So for that, a bunch of chunking techniques emerged, fixed size, recursive, semantic, all of these chunking strategies emerged. And then businesses were able to make the chatbots respond, make the AI models respond, or do some predictions based on their large amount of data. Because with RAGs, there is no limit on data. I mean, to make the accuracy good, you have to just see and experiment with different kind of chunking techniques, that which technique is going to pick the right data from the text and then pass that on to GPT. But these techniques are working, they are very much useful, and we built a bunch of products on these techniques as well. And even right now, this is one of the most common and most popular use case of generative AI, of GPT agents, of these large language models. So the next step after this one was function calling, and function calling is amazing. It's just a mind-blowing thing in AI that can like seamlessly make the whole experience of performing actions really easy. So imagine this use case: you can have a bot on your tourism website, and you can ask the bot that I want to plan a trip to Turkey. I want to stay there from 20th August to 25th August, and I want to take a flight from Qatar Airways. Let's say the bot, with the help of function calling, can make sure if your calendar schedule is available or not. If your calendar schedule is available, it can block your calendar. It can take the action on your behalf. Then it can call the API of the provider of those airline companies, and it can make a booking over there. It can reserve a room for you in a hotel in Turkey. It can perform all of these actions just based on a text input. What function calling does is it tries to extract variables, it tries to extract parameters from a text query. And the text query can come either from text or from voice notes. So let's say if there is a WhatsApp based bot, and let's say if some airline or if some agent built this chatbot for them, so you can just send a voice note to this WhatsApp chatbot and give them all of your requirements, all of your wishes, that you want to go to Turkey, you want to have a room for two people, you want to stay there for X number of days, and you want to visit some places as well. It can do the booking for airlines, it can do the booking of hotel, it can find some good places for you, and it can even ask you whether or not you want to reserve those attractions. And if you respond yes, it can just do all of that for you, right? So function calling is amazing. I love function calling. You can just do crazy things, build crazy applications. The limit is just your imagination. If there is anything that can be done with the APIs, you can now do that with these large language models as well. And all of these use cases, everything can be done using these third party already available and battle tested APIs. You don't even have to build your own models. There are these enterprise models like GPT and Gemini, all of those models that are supported by big companies, and there are open source models as well, and Hugging Face is filled with all of those open source models. You can just clone a model and run that on locally on your own machine, or you can just host that on some cloud, be at the expense of hosting the model, maintaining it yourself, but then you won't be reliant on any of these big providers. And then there are all of those voice based AI startups as well. So for that, you have 11 Labs, you have OpenAI's Whisper. You can leverage these APIs, you can leverage their already existing models and build your application on top of them. You can do things like text to speech, speech to text, speech to speech, dubbing the voice. All of those things can be performed just using their APIs. You can just call their functions, call their specific API endpoints and add those capabilities in your own application. If you just know full stack development, if they can do the API integration, which all full stack engineers can do, you can just integrate those APIs in your application and make your application AI powered. And recently we have started seeing a lot of the use cases for AI calling agents as well, for call centers and different support agents. Now there are some platforms out there, and I was recently looking them up, and one of them is Bland AI. So again, none of these providers are sponsoring this video, so these are just based on my own experiences. So there is this platform called Bland AI. You can just go over there, add your phone number, and an AI agent will call you. You can talk to the agent and it will feel very human like. And it's not a person, it's an AI talking on the phone. So if you want to build an application that can perform call center functionalities, just build the platform using this API. You do not have to worry about latency, building the model, doing all of the voice to text, text to voice, and then attaching LLM. All of these capabilities are baked into these platforms, Bland AI. There might be more. Drop them in the comments down below so I can check them out and maybe use them in our next project. And then very similar to support agents, there are these AI meeting bots as well. So let's say if you want to build a platform that can do interviews, that can do meetings on behalf of you, or take some initial screening calls with client or with candidates that you plan to hire. So there are these AI meeting bots and platforms that you can just use and integrate in your platforms. One of them I was recently checking out was recall.ai. So Recall has a bot, and their bot can join meetings in Google Meet, Zoom, Teams, all of these existing online meeting platforms. And you can build your tool, your recruitment platform, your outreach platform based on Recall AI, and then your platform will have AI capabilities as well. And then there are image generation platforms, and most of those platforms use DALI, Stable Diffusion, and some other open source Hugging Face models as well. In the past 18 months, we have built a bunch of AI applications. And I mean, people just keep asking us that you jumped at the right moment into the AI. Like, how are you building all of those crazy AI applications? And my response is always like, honestly, it's not that hard. I mean, you just have to try. There are some complexities, and every project, every product, every startup has some complex features that you have to look into. Like, if you go into more advanced chunking techniques, if you go into more advanced prompt engineering, if your model is not returning accurate results, so you have to make sure the prompt is guiding the model correctly, so it starts giving more and more accurate results. I mean, we have built platform with very good accuracy, and all of that is just the capability of prompt engineering. If your prompt engineering is good, if you can make the model do what you want it to do, then I mean, you can build any kind of AI tools, AI products. So hope this video helps. And if you are thinking of building your AI product, if you are confused how to take the leap, and if you are confused whether or not you can do it or not, I hope this video clears this confusion that you can do it. You just have to go out, try these APIs, integrate them into your product, and you can just launch. If you think there are more tools or third-party APIs that I have missed, drop them in the comments down below and I can try them out and we can use them in our next project. And if you like to work with us on your product ideas, feel free to reach out to me on my LinkedIn. Like this video, share it with your friends or anyone who's trying to jump into AI, and drop your comments if you have any feedback of how we can improve these videos and provide more value. If there is any specific topic that you want me to cover, drop your suggestions in the comment down below. That really helps us a lot. Thank you.